Futuristic for me is looking into the future. We use words like I can see what's coming. I have a feeling or sense. I get excited about possibilities. Sometimes the possibilities are not tangible to other people, but I clearly can see them very strategically and see them as if they are happening in real time.
Hello, welcome back to Coach. Today we are talking about futuristic. I have Jen and Analia here today. They are our experts in the room, and we are going to open up this topic, learn all about the strength of futuristic. Before I begin, tell us where you're coming in from and your top 5 and maybe what you're up to, and I'll come to you first, Jen.
All right. I am joining you all from Austin, Texas. It is lovely today. And my top 5 are connectedness, futuristic, relator, learner, and developer. And I do have to slow down because, I roll that off.
That was perfect, Jen. I could write them down. I could number 2 futuristic that we're talking about today. Got the others around it. So coming from Austin, Texas in August, and you said it was wonderful there.
Yeah.
That's not normal. Usually y'all this time of year are sticky and hot but you got a reprieve, it sounds like.
Yes, I have to say this is the best summer I've had since I've been here, able to be outside, have rain still during the summer, so I'm loving it right now. We'll see.
Wow. That's amazing. I'm here in Sacramento and we're cooking eggs on the sidewalk. It's so hot. Oh my. All right, Analia. Now Analia lives, I'm always jealous. Always. Go ahead, Analia. Top 5 where you're coming in from today.
Hello, everyone. I am coming in from San Diego, California, and my top 5 is futuristic, ideation, woo, individualization, and activator. And it's actually been really hot the last week here, so I don't know.
We sent it to you.
I think so.
What is hot for you down there? What's hot?
Well, I live inland, so we can get the 90 something. We got up to 100 inland. So it was pretty toasty this weekend.
Yeah, we've been triple digits for a while now. We've been real hot up here. Gosh, I never thought I'd be talking to someone from Texas telling me in the summer that they but I just talked to someone in Chicago telling me how pretty it was. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right. So as we jump in, we're going to give ourselves time to unpack the differences of this strength based on the other ones around it. And as you can hear, Jen and Analia have very different top 5 sets. They share the futuristic, but everything else is pretty open. And so as is our way this season, I'm going to be turning over the mic to them to start the exploration process of how they each see each other's top 5. But before I do, I want to ask both of you, please tell us about futuristic. Tell us about futuristic from here's the high level, what it is, and then go ahead and describe your version of it to us. And Analia, I'll come to you first on that one.
Absolutely. Futuristic for me is definitely, futuristic overall, looking into the future. We use words like I can see what's coming. I have a feeling or sense. I get excited about possibilities. Sometimes the possibilities are not tangible to other people, but I clearly can see them very strategically and see them as if they are happening in real time. So I will often say, can't you see the possibilities? I can see it. It's going to happen. And I'm so certain. I get super excited and people are like, what are you talking about? That's how it kind of feels to me. But I know different people live differently in the future. I live about 2 to 3 years out. I know there are people that do 10, 15 years. But I'm wondering, Jen, what does that look like for you?
Yeah. Well, great job, first of all, just giving that overall view of futuristic. So I'm not going to try and change what you just said. But for me, it is the minute I see something happening or hear about something happening, I'm already thinking like the domino effect and where I can see this ending up somewhere. And like you said, there's an assurance to it. Like, why can't anybody else see what's happening here? So a strength, and as we know, once you turn that up a little too high, it can get a little out of hand.
Absolutely.
Well, I got to tell you about the way you describe it from the general standpoint. That excited about what's to come, focused on what's to come, the visionary side of futuristic that brings with it inspiration. People get excited about, where we can go. I love the positive hope piece, the connection between futuristic positivity being really close, the imaginative creative that connects it to ideation in some ways, because futurists can get out ahead. But I think the part that always stuns me is the accuracy with which futuristic can predict events, the accuracy with which it gets ahead. Even in the past, when they would describe the balcony basement of this strength, in the balcony was prophetic, like the ability to just see ahead and tell you what's coming. And I've always found that to be such an intriguing part of this strength, because I'm surrounded by many futurists, and their uncanny ability to predict is often shocking to me. And so as we start to unpack, I'm especially curious today, Jen, about that connectedness futuristic combo, because there's an element to that where you live in a spiritual way of thinking, because you can connect the invisible and you're looking ahead and see why that happened or why this will happen. So
Yeah.
we're going to have some fun with that. So, okay. So this is the point where I'm going to pass off, and Jen, I'm going to let you start by talking to Analia first about her 5, and then y'all just, run with this, because this is a very interesting set of strengths you two possess. Do feel free though to unpack 6 through 10 if you need to. Don't be shy, because you might have connectors down there that relate closer to your top 5. But why don't you start us off, Jen, and as you connect in with Analia on her strengths?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I know for me, like Brandon, you were pointing out, that connectedness and futuristic for me live really closely together. And it wasn't until thinking about it for doing a podcast specifically on futuristic, where I had to try to figure out, okay, how do I even pull these two apart? Whereas for you, starting out with futuristic, with that being number 1, it seems like that would be something that you would just lead with all the time. So does it play out like that for you? Like, very obvious, I'm using futuristic right now?
I would say so. I love seeing what's possible. I think about a year ago when I kind of remember, and I don't know if you remember Brandon, but I had a interesting conversation with Brandon. I said, Brandon, I could see what's coming. Like, we're going to take, economically things are going to change, and not always for the best. And I felt it coming. It's been about a year, because we're heading into October. And sure enough, into the early part of the year, I started to see the effects. And I said, oh my goodness, I love, AI, because I am futuristic. I love adopting all the new tools and toys. Jen, I don't know if you're like that, if you like to get into all the
And
it depends. Yeah, I'm on it. Like, if something new comes on or out in the market, I'm looking into it. What's the capability? But I did see the AI disruption, and AI has been around for a while. Okay, so it hasn't really become in the out to the general public in terms of everyday people using it up until recently, but it's been around for a while. But when I saw it getting broader and broader, and having people having access to it in different ways and different capabilities, I was excited, but also I got a little bit worried. So I did start talking about it very publicly, and that takes a little bit of discernment, I would say. I was thinking about that today. Like, people really need discernment. And then I feel like the futuristic allows me to discern, is this something that I should talk about now or later, or do I postpone? Because it is something that can be very distressful to people if you're seeing it coming and other people don't.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you utilize it in that sense also.
Yeah. And I think, like I was saying earlier, and how you were pointing out that connectedness in the futuristic of one seeing, I see everything like in the big picture, right? And how everything has a connection, like nothing really is operating in a silo. And then when you take that to futuristic, you're looking, and then how does this end up down the road? And so having not only a discernment with other people, but a discernment with myself of, okay, am I future tripping here?
I love that.
Am I worrying? And now I've let it go down the future in a negative sense. Or is this something like, okay, this is interesting, and just being curious and then seeing how things play out?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Because I did, like I mentioned earlier, I did feel a sense of I need to do something about it, about my business, about strategically how I position myself. And so I do lead with strategic. And I don't know if you lead with a particular domain where it allows you to kind of hone in on the futuristic. Well, I guess that's a question for you. Is there?
Yeah, mine is I lead with all relationship building and all of that, and no strategic. I think the only strategic I have is like responsibility, and that's number 6 for me.
We have learner at 4.
Oh, learner, yeah. I pause because I'm like, how strategic am I really with that, or am I just bringing it all in? But anyway, yeah. I think being able to take that futuristic stuff, all that stuff that you're thinking about, and then being able to use it very strategically, very sparingly, very in a helpful way. Whereas for me, sometimes it can be turned up a little bit too much and be a basement for me.
And so what do you do to turn it down a little bit so that it's not in the basement? What strategy? See, I'm dealing with strategy again. What strategies do you use?
Yeah, I think this might kind of be similar to people that have empathy as a top strength, where how to be able to use it but not let it take over. So if I start getting to a point where I'm thinking futuristically and it's I'm thinking of things negatively and it's starting to weigh on me, like that, going back to that assurance, like I feel this is what's going to happen. This is where we're going to end up. This is how this is going to end up. And I start getting worried and sucked in it. It's still the future. So now it's like, bring it back and let's be present.
I love that. Let's be present. And I feel the same way. I need to kind of come back and say, okay, we're here today. We can't do anything about what's happened, in the past, right? But specifically in the future, in this case, and really embrace what I have control over, which is something that I've been also leading with, in terms of coaching with some of the people that I work with. Because I do get people that I get very worried about the future. What's impacting the economy? What are some things that are coming up? And I say, wait, we can only control what's currently happening. So let's talk about that and just getting really empowered. So I do the same thing. I will turn off the TV, anything. I will change the screens on my computer so I'm not seeing those news flash. I mean, it's easily to get sucked into it. As a futurist, they're like, oh my gosh, do you see what just happened?
Yes. Why isn't anybody seeing this?
Right?
Yeah.
So I love that. And in terms of your spirituality, how does that work? Because having the connectedness and futurist, like, how have you seen those two strengths play off of each other? And in particular, how do you keep it again in the balcony versus the basement?
Yeah. this is something that even recently I've been really practicing a lot intentionally of, again, being present because, you know, we have that sense of assurance, but these aren't things that we have control over. So we don't know for sure, right? And this is where then faith has to come in. I just have to trust that either things are in that good way going to work out, or no matter what, things will find their way of working out so that I'm not worrying about things that I potentially see happening. And so that's where just sitting back and letting things unfold, unless there is a point where something is in my control, but letting things just unfold. Because sometimes those things that I worried about actually don't happen. You get too worried about it and you start orchestrating. But really, again, I guess it's being mindful and present, really trying to just trust that whatever is actually going to happen in the future is going to work out.
You know how we start our coaching business on a high, only to get absolutely overwhelmed by the business side of things? We're suddenly supposed to be a full-time salesperson, marketing funnel maker, email marketing expert, social media manager, customer service rep, and tech expert all in one. Yeah, overwhelm. Well, Lisa Cummings, our strengths coach friend, created a membership that gives you an insane member vault that will blow your mind. All the tools, systems, and templates to save you time and money. It's the actual assets Lisa used at Lead Through Strengths to build a successful strengths coaching business. All the assets are yours to customize and make your very own. She even gives you 2 years worth of emails you can use to serve your customers. So check it out at podcast.34strong.com, Lead Through Strengths. Again, podcast.34strong.com, Lead Through Strengths from Lisa Cummings.
And I'm just curious because I've been thinking a lot about this, using your faith, and I am faith-based, I'm Christian. But on occasion we have clients that are not. So knowing that they may have futuristic or connectedness, how do you convey what you just said without using all the, words that you maybe can't say?
Yeah.
And that's a hot topic, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I leave out some of the language, but I think we have kind of a luxury with talking about strength because we get to talk about connectedness and futuristic and, there's this, for some people, there is this something else is going on, and you don't have to get specific about what that is, what they feel like that is, but the things that are out of their control, right? And it's something that, we can kind of talk about without getting spiritual. But boy, when you can bring that level in,
Yeah.
these two, I think connectedness and futuristic are things that it's like, ooh, now we get to talk about, like, bring that spiritual stuff in, and that just takes it to a whole different level.
It's a whole different level.
Yeah.
It changes the whole dynamic because those two strengths, your comfort in that space is really interesting to listen to because there's such an acceptance of this is just how it is. This is what I see. And I love that confidence that those two, connectedness and futuristic can bring for you because you really do see it. And, like Analia, and I am deeply a faith-based person in my Christian walk, and futuristic is very much, though it sits at like 12, it's the one next to my strategic. Those are my two strategic thinking themes. I make them work really hard because there's not a lot of them. So they gotta do overtime sometimes. But I found that connection too, even with it at that level, it does so often connect on a spiritual level for me and have a strong point of conviction because I can only imagine the acute nature of that strength with it. Number one, Analia, like just, you're seeing out into things that you're talking about, things that we're all going, nah. And you're like, you watch, just wait. I wrote it down. It's in this envelope. Watch.
Right.
like that, like degree of accuracy. But in my, view of it with the level that it still sits potent for me, watching that occur is pretty fascinating, right? Because that sequence of events, and then how did you get there? Where'd that insight come from? Because, when Don started, Dr. Donald Clifton, it was, he used the term God-given strengths. Like that was his bedrock for this of like, hey, these are gifts. As much as we use the term strength, they're gifts.
That's right.
So one can ask, well, how do I use it for good? How do I serve with this? How do I support? How do I benefit others? How do I give it in, he talked about strengths always grow best in the context of mission. And if you have a compelling mission, your strengths flourish because now they're in service to something bigger than you. And I feel like with this particular strength, it sees that so much. It sees big. It goes big with its vision of where it can take us. Do you guys see those relate to that too?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I see that with Jen's. Go ahead, Jen.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think, without, when you're thinking very focused, very narrow, not narrow-minded in a negative way, but you're very focused, it's hard to see what that is connected to. So this is kind of where futuristic to me is similar to connectedness, in that if you're thinking down the line, if you're thinking into the future, you've connected it to something in the present, right? So it's something from where we are now to where we're going to be. And so whatever it is that you're doing, and you're always looking in that forward, it's automatically broadening your horizons, broadening your mind, broadening your thinking. And so in service to other people, it provides, you said earlier, that hope, that joy, that, and it just opens everything up to when you're a little bit more focused, that can, close things in, which can be good, but also, can also have its basements too.
Yes, absolutely. And what I was going to mention is, I see, Jen, you have developer, which I'm sure it's amazing with developer as you're coaching people. You see that potential, like what's possible. And I use it with very closely with individualization, which individualization for me allows me to lock on that person when they're talking to me, and really focusing on what's possible. And quickly I begin to see possibilities with futuristic. And because I have ideation, my ideation goes crazy. It goes wild, right? I have a million things that I start to see for that person. But I always say, I don't want to give away the goods too early, because I need you to do the work. I need you to come up with your own pathway. And like Brandon said, your mission of what you would like to accomplish. So I'm going to hold back. And then what's so beautiful is that I eventually do see them come to one or two of the solutions or positions or careers that I was already thinking about for them. And then I'm like, I knew it. I knew you would be great at teaching or engineering or whatever that profession is. So I'm wondering if how that works for you with developer.
For me, I don't find as much connection with my futuristic and developer directly. I'm sure it does play a role. I just don't sense as much. My developer, I think, is a little bit broader in that I see potential in somebody and, just want to liven that up. And so, but where the futuristic does come in is like all the aspects and the stuff around whatever it is that they're growing into or I'm helping them with. And that's where it plays. So that's where I wonder, you've mentioned about being able to hold back what you're seeing. And that's, for me, obviously I do it, but it's a struggle. try and hold back what you want to share. So yeah, how do you manage to do that?
It's hard. And I've been coaching, career coaching now for 20 something years. So I learned some of it very formally, but I also um, made some blunders. So through the blunders, I'm like, no, we're not going to go there yet. And I always say to the people that I coach, I have some great ideas for you already. And so I see some possibilities, but it really is up to you because you're going to live in your own shoes. I don't live in your shoes. You're the one that's going to experience or go through the training or be in that position. So I want you to be 100% happy. So I automatically start to put it back on the client and the person that I'm coaching as they embrace this pathway and exploration of career. Because I think it's important that they do embrace it. I think it's important that they own it because they will be much happier, more content. I never want somebody coming back to me and saying, Analia, you told me this would be good and look how it turned out. So you don't want that either. But I'll tell you, a lot of times holding back is difficult, but I get excited at the same time because it's almost like, let's see what the person chooses. And then when they actually choose it, I'm like, I knew it. I knew it.
Yes.
I knew this was a great path. But then once they claim it, right, and they say it out loud and embrace it, then I'm able to give them the rest of what I can do for them, whether it's, okay, you need a strategic pathway to get some training and experience. And then I give them the rest of the information and then I go all out after that. No holds bar after that. That's exciting.
Yeah, I bet that it's kind of like a little game that you can play with yourself. Like I see this for this person and I'm just going to see what happens and see what
Yes.
they pick. Yeah. And I feel that it's kind of that same way just when I think now I'm getting better at like, as I see things, just sitting back and seeing, okay, is that actually going to happen versus sitting in it and either wanting to state that or orchestrating for it to happen, not to happen or whatever, but just sitting back and being curious about what's going to happen.
And my activator gets a little bit, I definitely have to tame my activator because
Ooh.
my activator wants to know right away.
Yeah.
So I have to say, no, can't.
And futuristic.
Yes, so with the activator being the last one, I just want to see results right away. But I want to see results, but it's not up to me. Again, I tell people it's a process. And then that helps me when I say that out loud and I, let them know it's going to take time. Then it helps me also like sit back and wait, take a look at what's possible. Because maybe there are other things that are possible that they're not seeing yet. And so we have to give room and space for that exploration. And I would say it even works in projects or any big initiatives that I used to run at universities where I saw the possibilities, but I always needed a partner, someone who I can bounce ideas off of and can hold me back a little bit so that we can make sure that we have all the components. Actually, connectedness is one of them. I had an amazing person that I used to work with, and we would bounce ideas off of each other, and he would say, Analia, don't forget, we have to include and think about this organization because they might play a big part in what, okay. And I'm like, okay, I see that. I forgot. And my activator just wanted to go, right?
Do you ever feel lonely as a coach or solopreneur? What if you had a place where you could surround yourself with like-minded coaches who truly get you, where learning, sharing, and growing together is the norm? Connect, Learn, and Share, started by Charlotte Blair, is a vibrant community of Clifton Strengths coaches from around the world. Hosted on the Circle platform, it's a place where you'll find people, processes, and events to help you grow your business, enhance your coaching and facilitation skills, and thrive in a safe, supportive, and collaborative environment. Connect with coaches from diverse backgrounds and experiences. Learn through a calendar of recorded events across time zones and share your knowledge in a community built on an abundance mindset rooted in strengths. Visit podcast.34strong.com to learn more. Again, podcast.34strong.com to learn more about the Connect, Learn, and Share community.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that, like seeing what the possibilities are, and then you also having that strength of, and I can also start making it happen, and that excitement that you can quickly go head first and then not be taking sight of all the other things that could be happening too.
Yeah. Or my deliberatives.
Right.
I want to put out a question to you two, since we're moving around the topic of leadership. And when you think about futuristic and how a leader can leverage this strength to really, advance whatever initiative they're trying, because I've always connected this strength to really successful leadership, because I think it has such a strong capability to do that. But I'm wondering, for the two of you, when you coach a futuristic leader, you're supporting them, you yourselves in your own experience with leadership, how would one really leverage this for, great impact, great effect?
I think going back to some of the first statements that Jen and I talked about, which is we see the possibilities, we get, excited about what's possible, but not everyone can see that. So that's when you bring in people, that have different strengths that can help you flesh out. Like my former professor used to say, Analia, you got to flesh out the idea, he would say. So really flesh it out, put it down on paper, be strategic, put out a plan, have people involved. And so you get their buy-in, and the more they buy in and strategically put these pieces into place, and the more people, the right people, right? Because it's got to be the right people you bring into the initiative or the launch of a program, the more it becomes a reality to other people that can't see what's possible, but you've already seen it. So then there's a big buy-in because they have vested their ideas, information, way of going about launching this program or initiative. And so that buy-in is always really important. Because without it, and without the active participation of others, then you can't move forward with the idea. It sounds too crazy, too broad, too, not enough, maybe not planned out enough. But as soon as you get people involved, it's amazing. It goes. And you want to be strategic about who you bring into the team too. So, briefly, without getting into any more, but I just remember launching a pre-advising health program at one of the local universities. And the first thing that we did was talked about our strengths, but we said, okay, we have to launch this. We have limited time. The funding will end at the end of the year if we don't do something amazing with it. So we all put in a part of who we were in terms of our strengths. And it was so beautifully done. It was launched. It was successful. It got awarded. It got recognized. It's still living there.
Yeah.
So for me, futuristic also is about making sure that I see something that's possible. I help create it with people, and then that there is a lasting effect and legacy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how it kind of plays out for me.
Yeah. I love that.
How about you, Jen?
Yeah, this kind of stems a little bit off of what you're saying. I think for a futuristic leader, one of the wonderful things is you can let people know where you're going. Like, if as the leader, being able to see where we can go, but also being able to show the people under you where you're going. Because I think, when we get down into the day-to-day of our jobs, especially, if you're a team member versus one of the leaders, you get focused in again on your task and maybe even your team's task, but you don't really know where you're going. Like, what's the point of this, and what are the possibilities? So futuristic leaders, not only are they seeing it, but then taking that opportunity to let everybody else know this is where we're going. These are the possibilities. This is what your job is connecting to. There you go. But being able to show progress and moving in some sort of direction. And I feel like that is so valuable now, especially like, when mentioning clients that come to us, how many of them feel just kind of stuck in what they've been doing for 5 years, 10 years. I've been doing the same thing. They don't really see what's happening. But if that leadership can be saying, this is where we're going, and this is how you're playing into this, and get everybody on board, then there's some mission to your work. There's some purpose to your work. So, I feel like it's really important. Like you said, if they can't do it, then bringing on the other people on their team to help them show what that future looks like.
And I think sometimes if a leader doesn't know where to start, I think if you belong to a larger organization, maybe not larger, maybe it's medium or smaller, but having a clear understanding of where the organization wants to go. What are their objectives for the year? What are some strategic goals? And if you could just start there, you can begin to feed into that. And that's always, I think, the easy way to just start somewhere. If you don't know where to start with that futuristic strength, go to your strategic plan, go to your mission, your values, your goals for the year. Pick one or two where you can make big impact. Let's not do 20, right? One or two big impact. Bring your team together. Ask them to participate. Which one do you think we can tackle? And then start to explore that future possibility of how we're going to get to this place at the end of the year. Because what organizations want these days is not only, a played out, plan, but they want some ROI, return on investment. Is your team doing what they're supposed to be doing? And are you reaching the goals that we set for the year? If at the end of the year, the answer is no, we have a problem, that's where people get laid off, right? That's where people get moved around. So having that very clear start, and again, an easier place to start is just go to the strategic plan, go to the mission values, and you can start there.
Yeah. And I think it's also helpful because it reins in your futuristic thinking, right? Like we could come up with all kinds of things. And then if it's somebody like you who also has ideation or also has something else, that, we're going in all different directions, but being able to take those goals that you have and thinking futuristically around something specific can start really fine-tuning your strength, rather than, it might, in all cases, we can't just let that futuristic fly.
Exactly. I know. I love it. It's so much fun, but it's absolutely true. And that's why it's just choose one or two things, get really focused, and bring in someone that can help you get a little bit focused. Because as a futurist, you can't go all over the place. So someone who has focus and that you really look at what's possible and be realistic and set those goals on an ongoing basis, right? Because we can't start and restart again. We need to start, but let's start like with a solid foundation.
Thank you both. I want to give you each chances to share with our listeners just what you're up to in terms of the work that you're doing and where they might find you. Listeners, if you did find some value today from Analia and Jen and their instruction and opening up futuristic and some of the other strengths, please do reach out to them. So Jen, how about you? Where can people find you? What are you up to?
Yeah, so I run a coaching business called Monarch Coaching Company, and I do one-on-one coaching. I do workshops, provide tools and exercises, and it's really helping people realize who they are, and the strengths plays a huge role in that. Where they're trying to go, what they're trying to do, really help them get unstuck, and then learn how to move forward intentionally. I have a lot of people that just hopped right into a career or hopped right into something and just all of a sudden wake up, how in the world did I get here? So really helping people find their path intentionally to where they want to go. I'm at www.monarchcoaching.net. And yeah, would love to chat.
Thank you. Analia.
Yes. So I run a company. It's called Signature Careers, and there's two parts to it. One of them is career coaching, professional development, anything to do with career, finding your ideal position and ideal situation and ideal pay. I do use strengths as a framework as a first part of everything we do, because it's very important. The second part is workforce development and helping people work better together, understand each other better. And I absolutely enjoy doing both. I'm currently very into, as a futurist, AI. So I'm talking to people about how AI is impacting their careers, how your organization needs to start looking at how AI is going to impact their organization. It's very interesting. I'm seeing some interesting concepts come up, like AI psychosis. That's a new buzzword out there. I was like, wow, this is interesting. You might see that on LinkedIn, which is where I live virtually most of the time. And so please look me up on LinkedIn. I do have my service page there too. But you can also go to www.signaturecareers.org. And I'm super excited to work with any of you out there who are interested in chatting and doing some amazing work together.
Great. Thank you both so much. And to our listeners, if you have Futuristic in your top 5 or 10, or know someone who does, please do pass along this episode to them. There's a lot of value shared today from our panel experts and their experience as people with Futuristic, but who can help you develop yours as well. And so, as always, we want to thank you for joining us on Coach to Coach, and we look forward to seeing you next time. See you then.
That's a wrap on this episode of Coach to Coach. If you've enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're a strengths coach looking to dive deeper, join the Coach Strong community. It's where coaches like you come together to share insights, support one another, and discover partnership opportunities. Be part of the conversations that are elevating our industry. Email community@34strong.com to join today. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week on Coach to Coach. Stay strong.